12:30. Welcome to Bears Talk Live, Episode 2 here in 2021, live from the Blowing Rock Draft House here in Hickory, North Carolina. The show is presented by J. Brown Realtors, our good friends that were kind enough to sponsor the show. My name is Eric Bach. I am the graduate assistant for play-by-play and media relations for the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears. I'm joined by Lenoir-Rhyne head football coach Mike Jacobs. Coach, we're going to get to you in a second. Your Bears kick off in 2 days on Saturday up in Virginia, but fall sports are here for the Bears. You know, the men's soccer team was supposed to kick off today down in Georgia, but in true 2021 fashion, the very first game of the 2021 fall season postponed due to some hurricane complications down there. They will reschedule that for later this month, but I mean, men's soccer kicks off their season at home on Saturday. Women's soccer goes to UNC Pembroke. Cross country's at Catawba. We'll talk to Kevin Patterson a little bit later today. And the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears, number 7 in the country, head coach Mike Jacobs, head up to Petersburg, Virginia on Saturday to kick off the 2021 campaign. Coach, thanks so much for your time. I want to open with you this week on kind of a personal question for you. And this is year 2 for you, obviously only 4 games in the spring. You had a good thing going at Notre Dame. You're an Ohio guy, 42-8 as a head coach there. So what was the appeal of Lenoir-Rhyne for you to kind of uproot yourself, uproot your family, to come here to be the head coach of the Bears?
Yeah, I think having an administration and a community that are in line with what the program's goals are was a really big draw for me. I feel like there is tons of room still for the LR football program to grow, and it just all kind of fit. We have tremendous leadership with our president, Dr. Fred Witt. We have tremendous athletic leadership with Vice President of Athletics, Kim Pate, and those things being in line with a community and an alumni base that want football and athletics in general to be ultra successful was something that was really a big draw for us. And again, as you look at different opportunities, coming into a program with the history and tradition of LR was something that I was excited about having the chance to.
So the first fall season in 2 years for the Bears, your first fall season on the sideline, starts in 2 days. We talked a little bit before the show about how it's just time to go and do it. You know, you've been talking about it, been preparing for it for so long. So what does it mean to you guys just to be able to go and hit somebody else in a fall football game?
Absolutely. We had the 4 spring games there here last April, or March and April, but it feels like we've been practicing forever. I know our kids are chomping at the bit to get out and you know, play against somebody else and see what all their hard work is going to reap for them. And they've been working extremely hard. We're blessed to have a super talented team that understands the importance of practice, and we're excited to get out there and play somebody else this weekend.
It's a good mix of old and new as well. You know, you got a lot of guys, over 15, 20 guys used their COVID year, would have exhausted their eligibility last spring, but chose to come back. So what does it mean to you guys as still a relatively new staff to have that many guys come back? And, I mean, we're going to talk to Derek Young. He's one of those guys.
Sure.
To have those guys come back, all that experience, they've been here longer than you and your staff have.
Sure. Well, and we're super grateful for those kids. You know, a lot of those kids, whether it was just putting off the rest of their lives, in Derek's instance, it may have been the NFL.
Yeah.
In some kids' instance, it may have been the opportunity to utilize the extra year in the transfer portal. But to understand that we think we have something pretty special here at LR, and to come back and really be the foundational leadership of the program for this season, for what is our first full season, speaks volumes to who those kids are. It speaks volumes to the program that Drew Cronick left, and really that the athletic department supports. So we're super grateful for those kids, and then you mix in guys that we've recruited and we feel strongly about to kind of infuse some young talent into a really solid foundation. And, you know, we think we got the groundwork for something special.
All right, let's talk about Saturday now. What are some fundamental aspects of a Game 1 performance that you look for as a head coach that kind of gives you some comfort moving forward, like, yeah, we got this thing?
Yeah, I think you want to play clean. You know, if you can you don't mind penalties where you're playing hard, but the elimination of stupid penalties, the offsides and things of that nature, I think if you can, be on the lower end of those in the first game, certainly protecting the football. You only have so many opportunities to go live in training camp, so protecting the football and generating takeaways, I think are, those three things combined are a good barometer for where you're at moving forward.
So let's talk about Virginia State. This is the third meeting ever between the Bears and Virginia State. Back in 2014, Bears went up there and took a win, and Virginia State came back in 16 and kind of thumped Lenoir-Rhyne at home. All those guys are gone, but Virginia State didn't play in 2020. Their last film was from 2019. So how do you go about preparing for that? I was just looking at the depth chart. There's a lot of new names that haven't ever played for them before.
Sure, we know what kind of turnover we've had on our own roster since the end of the 2019 season. But, you look at Coach Barlow, you look at his track record. He's gone there and he's been ultra successful. They're a team that's been in competition for the CIAA championship. They were in 2019. There's a number of defensive starters back from that team. They have two new coordinators, one on each side of the football, and then they've salted in a handful of guys from Division I transfer portal people, especially on the offensive side of the football. So we're expecting a team that runs pretty well. We're expecting a team that's going to be well coached and a team that's a championship level team. So we're excited to get out there and play against good competition.
So one area of relative inexperience on your guys' team is the offensive line. And watching them match up against your ultra experienced defensive line in the scrimmage there, that was probably maybe the largest area, I don't want to say concern, but of room for improvement. So how would you assess that group's steps that they've taken since that point in time?
I think we've gotten a lot better. We asked these guys just naturally to do some things differently than the last system. I take a lot of pride in that unit. I was an offensive lineman. It's where I cut my teeth. It's what my dad coached for 40 years. So it's personal for me that they play really well. I think we have a strong base. I think Blake Jefferson, our center, has had a tremendous fall camp. I think Ian Brinson is undervalued at right tackle. And then there's a bunch of young guys that are coming on and playing for us and playing pretty well. And, defensively, we think we're really good up front defensively, and not just really good, but deep. And so, that we expect them to maybe be a little bit further ahead as we get some stuff going. But no, that's a personal position of pride. And, those guys have done everything we've asked, and they've gotten better each week at training camp and over the course of the spring and the summer. And, we think they're going to play well.
We talked about areas of strength on the team. The D-line is one. The wide receiver quarterback combo is another unit that returns a lot of experience. So talking about Saturday, what's one part of the game that you feel like you guys have a really distinct advantage?
I can't even really speak to it. There's so much unknown with VSU not having played a spring season and not quite knowing, where they're at. I think it's hard to say that anybody's got an advantage. Right. I think that our summer strength and conditioning program, I think Trent Caldwell does a fantastic job. I think our kids from a preparation standpoint are in shape and ready to play. And, I think that gives us an opportunity to go out and play well.
So Kyle Duggar, 2019 Bear, is now a starting safety for the New England Patriots. The NFL has been at camp. There's been scouts, mostly to watch that guy sitting over there, Derek Young. But what does that do for your program to be able to say, we've got NFL guys here almost every single day of practice?
Yeah, it usually makes guys practice a little harder that day, so it helps our daily practice habits. But I think from like a big picture recruiting thing, it's very tangible now that you can tell kids that they can get anywhere they want to in the football world if they come to LR. And it's not just lip service. The support staff that we have, the strength and conditioning facilities, what we have going on with the stadium project and things of that nature are putting us at an elite level at the Division II, and kids can come here, and if their hope and goal and dream is to make it to the NFL and God's given them enough talent to do it, they'll have an opportunity because they'll be able to be developed at LR.
I'm going to talk to Derek in a second, but he's sitting here. Now's your chance to kind of flatter him a little bit. Just tell me what he means to this team and this program, both as a player and a person.
Sure. I mean, it says everything that, one, he's a graduate already.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy that's got a technical engineering degree, and I probably called it wrong. Sorry, D. But he's also started a master's program here in MBA. So to have somebody that values education, to have somebody that's a team captain, to have somebody that had other opportunities and saw the value of staying at LR speaks volumes to what we think we have going. And, to have buy-in from some of your best players into a new system and a new staff has been critical. And I think that's the greatest thing that he's provided us.
We're going to talk to Derek Young after this break. Head coach Mike Jacobs and the Bears head up to Virginia on Saturday, 6 p.m. kick. Follow the links on lrbears.com to watch and listen live. Coach, good luck this weekend. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back.
What does unlimited mean to you? At Carolina West Wireless, it means unlimited media, unlimited fun, and unlimited access to our nationwide high-speed network. Sign up today for an unlimited data plan and pay just $35 per month per line for 4 lines, and we'll include hotspot and big-time savings on a new smartphone. Take $350 off the revolutionary new Samsung Galaxy S20 and get more out of your unlimited. Expect more, get more. Only from Carolina West Wireless.
Welcome back to Bears Talk Live, presented by J. Brown Realtors here from Blowing Rock Brewery in Hickory, North Carolina. Eric Bach, happy to be joined now by Derek Young, senior wide receiver and captain of the Lenoir-Rhyne Bear football team. Derek, senior from Raleigh. The preseason accolades are pretty impressive. Senior Bowl watch list, named a preseason contender for the Harlan Hill Trophy, which is given to the top Division II athlete in all sports throughout the country. So, Derek, you could have left after 2020. Your eligibility was exhausted. There was maybe some NFL looks for you. So what brought you back to Hickory here for this 2021 season?
The opportunity of winning a national championship. We played 4 games in the spring, but obviously we couldn't play. We didn't do a playoff run, and we didn't have a chance to play for a national championship. And I felt like coming back, that we had the opportunity to, make a good run with they're calling us super seniors now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys, like I talked to Dan, I talked to Grayson, and a lot of those guys were coming back. And, I came in with Dan, I came in with Eric Jackson. So I just wanted another opportunity to play with those guys and help lead this team to a national championship, which is our ultimate goal.
That was my next question. There's a lot of guys that had the same decision as you. And so there was group conversations about, hey, we're going to come back together and do this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I know that you've had a lot of accolades on the field, off the field. What are some of your personal goals for this 2021 season? It doesn't even have to be a stat, just something that you want to improve on or get better at in 2021.
Just be the best player that I could be and best leader that I could be for this team. And I feel like if I do that, then everything will just fall into place.
How do you react to things when you hear Senior Bowl watch list? The Senior Bowl is the premier showcase for guys that have NFL hopes and dreams. So to have your name even mentioned among those guys, what does that mean to you?
I try not to let it overwhelm me. I just use it for motivation, to be honest with you. Try to block out the noise, and it just makes me work harder because I have something, pretty big to work for. So.
I want you to tell me about the wide receiver room. I mean, it's a good mix, a lot of returning experience and a lot of youth. So I'm sure that they look to you as the natural leader of that room. So how have you kind of taken that role, and tell me a little bit about the personalities in that room?
We have a pretty goofy group, wide receivers. But when it's time to work, we have a lot of hard workers on the team, a lot of young guys who are talented, and I would say they're talented to me when I was their age, so they have a pretty bright future. I always tell Dre that if he keeps working hard and stay focused, that he could be the next guy, that has NFL looks. And we have a few freshman receivers who who are pretty much forced to grow up because they're gonna play a lot this year, and they're pretty talented and they're taking it well. They're not letting it overwhelm them, and they're gonna help us win a national championship this year for sure.
Tell me about your connection with Grayson Willingham. I mean, you guys have been here together forever, it seems like. Yeah. I mean, to have a quarterback that you know and you trust, what does that mean to you?
Our relationship has grown a lot over the years. We weren't that close my freshman year, and I believe that was his red shirt freshman year. But him, winning the starting job his sophomore year on the field, and me being one of the receivers he threw to, our relationship just grew over the years, and it's one of my best friends, I would say, that's here at the school.
You played with Kyle Duggar in the early part of your career. Now he's in the NFL. Have you been in contact with him about the process of what he went through to get there and what maybe you can do to get yourself there?
Yes, I talked to him a little bit in the spring when it was time for me to make a decision, and he just pretty much told me to just do what's best for me. Don't rush the process. He told me that even though he's been in the NFL for 1 year, he's seen a lot, and he knows that I'm talented enough to make it, and he just told me, just make the best decision for me and my family, and I feel like coming back and boosting my stock was the best decision to make.
So now I want to talk about the entire team as a whole. I mean, it's like we talked about, a lot of newcomers with the new coaching staff, but a lot of guys that are still around from the previous coaching staff. So what have you seen about how everyone's kind of gelling and mixing as we're 2 days away from opening kickoff?
We had guys here over the summer.
Yeah.
We worked pretty hard. This is the most guys we've ever had over a summer. Not all guys were up here, for free. It was some guys that were paying out of pocket, to stay up here. Wow. So that just showed how determined we are as a team, and I feel like that's a big reason why we're going to have a good season this year. And we also had guys that weren't here over the summer, but you could tell that they were putting in work on their own when camp started.
So give me the scouting report on Derek Young. If you are an NFL scout evaluating yourself, what would you say about the type of player that you are?
Humble guy, athletic guy, a selfless guy that'll do anything for his teammates to help the team win, whether that's blocking in the run game, running the route a specific way so that could get other guys open. He's also a special teams player, so pretty much a do-it-all guy.
What is your favorite memory as a Lenoir-Rhyne football player?
Favorite memory? I would say probably the Moretz Miracle.
What was the Moretz? I'm new in town. You got to tell me what the Moretz Miracle is.
It happened in 2019, I believe. We was playing Wingate in the playoffs.
Okay.
And Riley McGee. It was a trick play that we went over all week.
Okay.
All week. It wasn't connecting. Like
okay.
We were running in practice and it wasn't connecting. And I just remember Coach saying, "That's okay, because that's going to win us a football game one day." And
it did.
And it did. It ended up happening. It was like a trick play to Grayson threw the ball to Riley McGee, and he made the catch, and it's called the Moretz Miracle. So
love it. So I'm still new in town. I haven't been here for not even a month yet. Okay. What are some of the good food spots that I have to hit while I'm here?
I ate at Backstreets yesterday.
I've been there. That's good.
So that's a pretty good place. Hickory Tavern, Old Tavern. They have some pretty nice wings. I like going to Kickback Jack's. I would say that's my favorite.
Okay.
My favorite restaurant. That's a restaurant that's also back home from where I'm from as well. So I eat there quite a bit. I don't really try out new restaurants that much in the area, but those are just a few to name.
Kickback Jack's, by the way, first Tuesday of every month, 10% of the proceeds go to Lenoir-Rhyne Athletics. Last question. What's something that I, as a new Hickory resident, should do for fun here? Or are you just a football guy all the time?
You should definitely go to the lake. I've been to the lake a few times.
Nice.
I went in the spring with one of my fraternity brothers, Petey King.
Nice.
We went to his lake house, and it's pretty nice.
Perfect. Derek Young and the Bears kick off the season Tuesday up in Virginia. Looking forward to watching you this year, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll be right back on Bears Talk Live with cross-country coach Kevin Patterson.
Paramount Kia in Hickory. We want to see you driving a new Kia or, hey, a quality pre-owned Kia. We've got a huge selection of new and pre-owned Kias. You got to get to Paramount Kia in Hickory, Highway 70, ParamountKia.com.
Welcome back to Bears Talk Live, wrapping up episode 2 here on a lovely September Thursday afternoon at Blowing Rock Brewery. Eric Bach here with head coach Kevin Patterson of Lenoir-Rhyne Cross Country and Track and Field. They opened their season on Saturday down in Salisbury at Catawba. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Third season here for the Bears. You moved around a lot. What stuck with you about Lenoir-Rhyne?
It's just everything. It's the community, and it's just reinforced everything. When we wake up bright and early, with 6 a.m. practices, campus is filled with runners. So it's just a tremendous community. It's the resources that we have. It's the people that we have at Lenoir-Rhyne. Me and my wife fell in love with it the minute that we got into town in Hickory, and I was able to sneak off the campus, and I came back to the hotel. I'm like, I think we're moving to North Carolina.
Yeah. So the season starts on Saturday at the Fleet Feet Invite. Don't say that 5 times fast at Catawba. So a first meet. What are you looking for as a coach from the team?
Well, it's going to be a different story for both teams. The ladies, we expect to go out there and compete for a championship this weekend. We're a very senior-led team. On the men's side, I'll have 10 people lining up for on the line Saturday for their first collegiate cross-country race.
Wow.
So we're very, very young. Ladies will get to see 2 teams that are ahead of us in the regional rankings, and 2 conference schools in Anderson and Catawba. And the men will really kind of get their feet wet and kind of see what the collegiate cross country is all about.
That was going to be my next question about the newcomers. So what have you seen from them so far? Especially, you talked about on the men's side, lots of inexperience. What have you seen from those newcomers trying to fill some big shoes?
Yeah, no, I think we'll have 5 freshmen compete for a varsity spot come conference and regional time, and they've hit the ground running. They had great summers. They're having great workouts. I'm really glad to see the week-to-week progress. On the ladies' side, we have 1 newcomer, Catherine, who will mix it up with our top 5. I really think that she's going to be able to come in and compete with the Kylie Dahlbergs and the Janet Kwambes and the Caroline Hilliards, and really help that team take that next step.
So you guys have so fewer competitions than most teams. The sample size is a lot smaller in competition work. So how do you, as a team and a coach, make the most of those opportunities to compete against somebody else, and how do you evaluate those opportunities when they're so far and few between?
Yeah, so we put a lot of emphasis on training, so really our Mondays and Wednesdays and our Tuesdays and Thursdays coming up, practices are really where we get to kind of see where we're making progress. When it comes to competitions, it's going to be similar throughout our competition. That there's going to be limited competition. It's really going out there and making the most out of every single meet. Not letting a great opportunity for a PR and a championship and a conference. To see conference competition, pass you by.
So, cross country is a team sport, but it's also very individual.
Yeah.
So how do you keep that team-oriented feelings around it? How do people show leadership in cross country?
Well, it's everything that you do. It's being on practice on time, be ready to go, picking up teammates and cheering them on during workouts, holding people accountable for getting the rest and the hydration that they need throughout those things. It's a very individualized sport, but we take it from step 1 to make it a team aspect. So all of our goals are team aspects, goals. It takes an individual competing at a high level to achieve those things. So we try to really make it a team goal as much as we possibly can. And then when it comes to the conference championships and the regional championships, you'll have those individual awards, but we're always geared up for high finishes at the conference championships and setting those goals and letting the workouts and the individual things take care of itself.
In my experience observing cross-country teams and the small sample size I've observed your team, it seems like cross-country teams are very close. They're just a close group. So how do you think that this sport kind of caters to that?
I think it's huge. Running 10 miles on a weekend when no one's there to hold you accountable is not fun.
Yes.
So having that close-knit group having that roommate that is going to get you out the door and make sure that those miles are run when no one's watching is so important. It's the pasta parties that they're going to be having tomorrow night. It's just going to be the movie nights and just those things. They're crazy people. You know, I tell them to go run 13 miles on a Sunday. That's not normal.
Right.
You know, there's only a small portion of this population that's doing it. So it's those things that link each other together. You know, it builds relationships. It builds friendships that last a lifetime. My college roommate, my freshman year, is the head coach at Lewis University, and we talk every single day. So those are just bonds that they create from the minute they step on campus.
For you personally, is it challenging to juggle coaching two teams at once? I know that's different personalities on the women and the men. So for you, how do you juggle giving enough attention to both?
Yeah, it's a challenge. You know, we practice together at 6 a.m. There's going to be times where the men are doing a workout that's different than the women. It's making sure that you give them the best communication that they possibly can, that you're explaining everything the way that it needs to be and showing encouragement. I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's be at conference or at the meets. I try to be everywhere, and I try to be vocal and encouraging and showing the support that they deserve.
So our department did all the fall sports media days where we took pictures, shot video for everything, and one thing that struck me about your teams is the personalities. It's different than anyone we saw. So can you talk about the personalities on both your women's and men's team?
Yeah, I think it's kind of unique to our sport.
Yeah.
Everyone can go buy a pair of running shoes and start running tomorrow.
Right.
So it brings every walk of life into the sport, and that's how we surrounded our team. That's how we built our team. So you get the people that are 100% bought into cross country. You also have those athletes that want to be a part of the drama club or the marching band and things like that. So it's just a big melting pot of personalities, and that's what makes it so fun. It makes it fun for me. It keeps me young. Just the goofy personalities. It's the goal-oriented student athletes that makes every single day kind of something new.
So I want to talk a little bit. I know it's probably not the best to dwell on COVID times, but cross-country during COVID times, I mean, cross-country really, other than golf, is really the ultimate social distancing sport.
Yeah.
So what was the COVID year like for your program?
It was a challenge. We didn't know if we were going to compete. We haven't had a conference championship since 2019.
Right.
But it really allowed us to take a step back with our student athletes and really focus on the mileage and developing them and really putting goal aspects behind. We want to raise your mileage up. We want to start concentrating on this event group, and we saw that in track. We had a very brief cross country season last year. Ladies ran 2 events. Men ran 1 event, but we saw a lot of progress with our student athletes that are still here from in the end of indoors 2022 to the end of outdoors 2021, where we really took that step where we feel like we're one of the best teams in this region.
So I'm asking everyone that I talk to for the first time as a newbie in Hickory, give me some places that I need to check out, both food and otherwise.
Okay. Well, I love this place.
Blowing present
Rock.
company excluded, of
Absolutely.
course. Yeah.
Fork is a great place. Absolutely love that place.
Okay.
Boca, right down the road at Moretz Mill, is absolutely, it's me and my wife's favorite place here in Hickory. You really can't go wrong. And that was another thing. Cafe Rule is another great place, another great, for date night. Whenever me and my wife get an opportunity, not often, with 2 little ones at the house. If you ask my daughter, there's amazing parks here in Hickory that she absolutely loves, and Chick-fil-A, and all the fun stuff that you could do with the kiddos.
So that's Kevin Patterson. The Lenoir-Rhyne women's and men's cross-country teams kick off their season Saturday at Catawba at the Fleet Feet Invite Kevin, thank you so much. That does it for Bears Talk Live today. Fall sports are in full swing starting this weekend. Men's and women's soccer, football, cross country, volleyball is coming up next week. Follow us on Facebook, Lenoir-Rhyne University Bears. Twitter, we're still trying to get Bears Sports out of Twitter jail, but right now it's at LR Bears, and on Instagram, Bears Sports. And obviously all updates for the cross country team and everyone else are on lrbears.com. Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week at 12:30 for Bears Talk Live.